Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Morning, everyone. Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Hope this finds you well wherever you might be in this great, big, wonderful, scary world of ours. It's not really that scary. Well, I guess it can be. It depends where you're at and what you're doing. Hopefully, it's not a scary situation here as we sit on this Friday at the start of October. Again, I'm Ray Flowers. Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all those places at the Ray Flowers. Check it out. I'm also in Discord all the time answering questions. Baseball, football, dynasty-related trades, waiver wire, stardom situms, all of that over at fantasyguru.com. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner if you haven't done it already, and get signed up for any of our products. You can always send an email to support@fantasyguru.com if you got any questions. Not sure what package to sign up for, or maybe combining some packages, support@fantasyguru.com. Yesterday, 2 days ago, it might have been yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Here we go. Yesterday, top 50 players reviewed from 2025 in fantasy baseball. Who are the top 50 performers this season? A little review there. Next week, we'll look back at the top 50 according to ADP. How well did we do at predicting the future? We'll talk a little bit about that in a football context here in a few minutes. That'll be the article up next week over at fantasyguru.com. What are we doing on the show today? Well, there you go. Some baseball talk. We got some youngsters, we got some free agents, we got some guys coming back from injuries, and we got a pitcher who threw one hell of an effort last night for the Yankees to get his team to the next divisional round, or next playoff round, excuse me. We'll talk about Cam Schlittler in a moment. We'll also break down the Rams-Niners game and talk about a game that didn't go in the direction anyone thought. That was a wild game based upon expectations across the universe. We'll talk about what did and didn't happen in that game, where the Niners somehow won. Just absolutely remarkable. We'll talk a little bit about engaging with people on game day. I don't know if you all drink. I don't know if you all do drugs. I don't know if you all just hate your life so bad because your old lady or your husband or your boss is a dick. We got to talk about how people interact here. We'll do that here in a few minutes too. We'll talk a little about the Bucky, Irving, and Chubba Hubbard news. It's not good for this week. Not terrible long term, but not good this week. And then in about 25 minutes, as we do on every Friday, at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, we'll visit with Russell Clay of FantasyGuru.com. We'll talk CMC, Brandon Aiyuk, Terry McLaurin, Brock Bowers, Taysom Hill. Oh, dear. What's going on with Nico Collins? What's going on in the backfield with the Texans? Is Malik Washington going to be something? What about Darren Waller? And what's going on with the Browns now that Dillon Gabriel is in the house? You can watch the show live. You can watch the show on demand. You can leave comments live that we can address throughout the show in three places. Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ, Twitter X @FantasyGuruSite, YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. Any of those places, leave a comment, question, and we'll deal with it here. We'll talk about it on the show. There's also two other ways to listen to the show. You can watch the show in those three places. Two ways to listen. Go to FantasyGuru.com, go to the toolbar at the top of the page, click the Elite Plus tab there at the top. That'll get you the access to the old shows, the podcast. And you can all just type in wherever you listen to your podcasts. Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Pandora. Type in Fantasy Sports Daily. Click on the subscribe tab, whatever you get all the podcasts sent right to your device, if you will. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit here. Oh, by the way, I'm Ray Flowers, FantasyGuru.com. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm here with you. Wednesdays, I am not with you. Why? Because I'm with Jeff Mans on the Elite Sports Show, 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Monday through Friday is that show. Again, I'm with Jeff. I had someone in Discord earlier this week say, well, Ray, I want to hear what you have to say, but you're only on with Jeff on Wednesdays. I'm on 5 days a week, 4 days a week with you here. And as you can see here, if you didn't notice, it's show number 500. Now, I don't know how many of the shows I've done. I'm going to say 450. Right around there. Justin Fensterman does the Wednesdays, and I think he's been doing it about a year. So let's say I've done 450 of the 500 shows. But that's a really good milestone here. So thank you to all of you who have been part of what we've done here. Spread the word, tell a friend, all that kind of good stuff. It's great to see that we've been able to get enough traction to do 500 shows. I don't know if we're going to make it to 1,000. We'll see how that goes moving forward. But it is show number 500. Thank you to all of you who have been part of it. We really appreciate all of you. And thanks once again for helping us out to reach the folks, to reach all of you, and to have some fun while doing it, while talking sports. All right, let's dive in. Cam Schlittler yesterday delivered a spectacular performance. Only a couple minutes of baseball. Don't worry, folks. Just a couple minutes. Cam Schlittler delivered a special effort. It was the first double-digit strikeout game in the postseason by a rookie since Livan Hernandez in 1997. So that doesn't happen at all. 8 innings, threw 75 of 107 pitches for strikes, didn't walk a batter, gave up 5 singles. Was a special, special game for Schlittler. Someone in Discord said, "You guys, the future of the Yankees is here now. Did you see it?" All this kind of stuff. And Schlittler, as we've talked about when he was promoted, he's 24 years old. He's a big dude, 6'6", 230 pounds, throws gas. There have been and continue to be, despite the success, some questions about the secondary stuff. The fastball is tremendous. The rest of the overall game, a little unclear. But right now, that effort last night has to make you feel good if you're a Yankee fan. Has to make you feel good if you have him in a dynasty or a keeper league. I will point out, as we talked about Schlittler throughout the year here in 2025, his walk rate of 10% during this 14 starts this season is a bad number. It is not good. Okay, and that speaks to his ability to consistently throw strikes with anything other than his fastball. His fastball can be a dominant pitch, and it often was this year. But his 11% swinging strike rate, his 27% CSW, these numbers do not support the 10-plus strikeouts per 9 innings that he flashed either. Also, the O swing of 30%. So the bottom line is here, he walked too many guys this season despite the success he had. The strikeout rate of 10.4 per 9 innings is doable for him, but it's not doable if he does what he did this season. Like if he pitches the same way, that number is not going to be as high next season. He was extremely fortunate with a non-repeatable 85% left on base percentage. So before you get too far ahead of yourselves, Yankees fans, be pumped. Great effort last night, historic effort last night. Don't let it impact you too heavily come draft season in 2026. There are still concerns with Cam Schlittler. Jared Kelenic, and this is for those of you that love building around rookies and fantasy drafts of any sport. Jared Kelenic, who at one period of time was a top 10 prospect in all of baseball. Just was, according to everybody. Couldn't miss. Was going to be an all-star, all that kind of stuff. He's bombed to the point where he's become a free agent. Like the Braves didn't even want to keep him. He hit 161 with 2 RBIs and 65 plate appearances before heading to AAA. Someone's going to give him an opportunity, and as we get closer to the start of next season, we'll dive into whether it makes sense to even consider him in only scenarios. But another one of these stories of, let's build our team around the young players. Jared Kelenic was one of the guys to do it with, and his career has fallen so quickly at 26 years old. He just become a free agent. Ugh. Mark Topkin of the Bay Area, the Tampa Bay Times, is talking about, speaking of this one, and we know that they love Taylor Walls in Tampa. We know what he is. He's got some power. He's got some speed. Pretty good defender. Can't really hit. We know that kind of stuff. It's not surprising, but it still is surprising to hear Topkin, who's been the dean of people who covers the Rays, saying the team is looking at this and saying that, Taylor Walls is going to get a legitimate chance to battle with Carson Williams to be the starting shortstop next year for the Rays. Carson Williams, top 50 prospect in all of baseball, came up and did what we expected him to do, which was really struggle here at the start of his big league career. He's got power, he's got speed, and he's a tremendous defensive player. But his overall offensive game and his hit tool, it's not good. And we saw that he had a 42% strikeout rate. Again, this guy's maybe he's top 75, but I'll say top 50 prospect in all of baseball. He's got the ability to be 30-30 if we really dream. Maybe one day he can do that. But he also hit 170, had a 220 on base percentage, and struck out 42% of the time. And it was so bad, so unimpressive to start his big league career, that Taylor Walls has a legitimate chance potentially to be the starter still next season. That's the storyline we'll follow. Got to make better contact. It's the same story we said with Williams when he was promoted, and it played out that way. One more baseball story before we hit some football up. Mark Topkin also reported that Shane McClanahan should be good to go for the start of 2026. He came back from the Tommy John surgery this year, had start, stop, never really worked out. Nerve damage in his arm, then it was his triceps issue. And, I'm reading some reports here. This is a good report that they expect him to be okay. They also expected him to be okay this year, starting early in the season, and it never happened. So let's not, let's be realistic here and be honest here with Shane McClanahan. He's now going to be, what is he, 28? How old is Shane McClanahan? Shane McClanahan will be, he's 28 on opening day. He'll turn 29 in April next year. He's 29 years old and he's got one season of, he'll be 29 years old with one season of 125 innings pitched. One. Last year, 0 pitches in the big leagues. 2024, 0 pitches in the big leagues. And I saw reports saying he's still a top 20 starting pitcher. He hasn't thrown a big league pitch in 2 years. So we'll follow this storyline as we get closer to the start of next season. Good reporting, good news. Like to see all this stuff. Yeah. But no, we can't be in that boat at the moment for a guy who hasn't thrown a pitch and had multiple setbacks and multiple situations with his body over the last 2 years. All right, let's talk some football here. That's all the baseball talk, folks. Just a little bit for those people that are still here for baseball. Oh, look at Henry say, I haven't missed a show, just can't make him live most of the time. That's all right, Henry. That's why we have him stored. We appreciate you, Henry. And if you've really watched all 500 shows, you deserve a merit badge. So thank you so much, Henry. Really appreciate that. You, Ethan, Angelo, John, all the people that are with us, as I always say, thanks from us to you, and thanks for always being positive here. And we'll talk about some areas that people aren't in a couple of minutes, but you all here in the show are great. So keep it going. All right, last night, the Niners in overtime defeated the Rams 26-23. Short week for the Niners. They were without Purdy. They were without Kittle. They were without Pearsall. They were without Jennings. 4 of their top 5 offensive players didn't even play last night. They were playing on the road on a short week with a quarterback in Mac Jones that's not even remotely close to 100% himself. They won a football game. Just remarkable. The Niners moved to 4-1. The Rams fell to 3-2. This game did not go according to plan at all in terms of the results. Let's talk about what happened on the field. For the Rams, this game went, fantasy-wise at least, exactly as we expected or hoped it would go. Matthew Stafford went for 389 yards and 3 touchdowns with a massive game. I saw that it was his 13th highest yardage total of all time. It's now the second straight game he's gone for, 330 and 3 or whatever the hell it is for him. Special 2 weeks back-to-back here, but last night almost threw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. So if you started Stafford, you got exactly what you were hoping for. In the backfield, Blake Corum fumbled early, and he had 6 snaps. I've said it on this show many times. I've said it on Jeff's show. The Blake Corum love, again, this is why these backup running backs that we talked about on the show yesterday, episode 499, starting at about the 11-minute mark. If you missed it, episode 499 at the 11-minute mark, I spent 5, 6, 7 minutes talking about backup running backs. I would encourage all of you to go back and review that if you didn't see it. I know Henry saw it because he watches every show. If everyone else didn't, episode 499, 11-minute mark. Blake Corum was getting a lot of excitement, a lot of publicity. People were saying you can play him as a flex option this week. He played 6 snaps. Now, yes, he played 6 snaps because he fumbled the ball. Okay. But this is why you don't play backup running backs. This is why you don't randomly grab backup running backs. This is why you handcuff your guys. Kyron Williams didn't do much on the ground, but he has run for 65 yards, I think, in every game this year. Still hasn't run for 100, but has run for 65 every game, including last night where he hit 65. 8 catches for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. He fumbled late. It's not going to matter. He still touched the ball 20-plus times, still scored 2 touchdowns. He was exactly who we hoped he would be. And then some. We didn't expect 2 touchdowns last night. Devontae Adams, 5 catches for 88 yards. Boom. We're fine there as well. Puka Nacua only had 85 yards, but 10 catches and a touchdown. So even though the Rams amazingly lost this football game out of nowhere, and they should be ashamed for losing to this team with all their injuries, losing to this team on a short week, and losing this team while playing in LA, playing a home game. The Rams' big 4 in the fantasy space all delivered exactly what we expected. So if we played any Ram last night, you're in good shape. Okay. On the other side of things, let's talk about it. Christian McCaffrey is a wide receiver 1 playing running back. Christian McCaffrey is averaging 3.1 yards a carry. That's like 1.5 yards less per carry than his career mark. So every carry, and again, partly him, partly the offense, partly the blocking, all of this stuff, okay? But the bottom line is Christian McCaffrey as a running back this season is a failure. Failure. 22 carries, 57 yards last night, 2.6 yards a carry. Failure. As a pass catcher, he's a star. 8 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. We jokingly said on this show, I think yesterday, I did with Jeff too on Wednesday. Well, it wasn't. I wasn't on this show yesterday. What am I saying? So it was with Jeff yesterday. I said, is this going to be a game where they're just going to have to give the ball 30 times to McCaffrey? Or is it going to be a game where they give it to him 14 times because they fall behind early and they just give up? Well, they didn't give up. They played the football game. They moved to 4-1. They gave him the ball 30 times. Christian McCaffrey is going to die just like any player would with 30 touches a week if that's what this team continues to do. They also got to figure out how to run the football because, again, McCaffrey's not – their team – Brian Robinson's not doing anything. They're not using Garendo at all. They're not running the football at all. All they're doing is throwing the ball a gazillion times. And it's working. They're 4-1. But this is a concern with McCaffrey moving forward. Because, again, he's averaging 3.1 yards a carry. It's terrible. Mac Jones can't walk. He couldn't walk before the game. He couldn't walk during the game. He still threw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mac Jones has thrown for 275 yards in all 3 of his starts. And Mac Jones has 6 touchdowns and 1 pick in his 3 starts. Those are Brock Purdy numbers. Is he better than Brock Purdy? No. Should the Niners have paid Brock Purdy all that money? Probably not. Mac Jones steps in. Offense looks the same. Production's the same. And remember, Mac Jones is doing this without his number 1 receiver, his number 2 receiver, his number 1 tight end. Kudos to Mac Jones. He's really coming through. Kendrick Bourne had a drop, of course. 10 catches for 142 yards. So we got that right here in Discord over at fantasyguru.com yesterday on the show with Jeff. If I said I'm playing one guy, it's Kendrick Bourne. I don't want to play Kendrick Bourne this week. You got 24 PPR points out of nowhere. You got 14 non-PPR points out of nowhere. You shouldn't have played Kendrick Bourne yesterday. But at least we identified the right receiver to utilize with the 49ers. Jake Tonjes, 7 catches, 41 yards, and a score. That's 3 touchdowns for him this season, if I'm not mistaken. He's only had 2 games where he's caught 4 passes. He's not really doing anything, but he's finding his way into the end zone. And last night, because they threw the ball 49 times, Tonjes was able to catch 7 passes. We're hearing early reports that the hamstring injury with Kittle is improved enough to the point where we might see George Kittle in week 6. So, before you get all excited about Tonjes, run to the waiver, may not even be on the field much next week. But bottom line is Niners won this football game 26-23. McCaffrey came through as expected. Stafford came through as expected. Kyren Williams came through as expected. Adams was fine. Puka Nacua came through as expected. And Kendrick Bourne, if you were a masochist, really came through. So despite the game going completely opposite of what everyone expected, results-wise, the performances of everyone that you should have even considered starting last night, pretty good. Now let's talk about the next point here. Engaging on game day. I would say this to everybody, and I've said this before, so it's repetition. So I apologize if you have seen every one of the 500 shows. I might have said this at some other point. I would recommend that a lot of you just don't interact on game days. Right? Don't send angry notes in Discord. Don't send angry notes on social media. Don't send angry notes to players. Don't send angry notes to analysts. Don't do it. Put your phone down. Watch the game. Drink your 6-pack if you want. That's cool. Just don't pick your phone up. That's good in real life, too. You don't want to be texting the ex or your partner or your work if you're 6 beers in, right? So just, you start drinking, put your phone down. Okay, we've all made the mistake of not doing that at times, including me. I would recommend you do that strongly. The reason I say that is because there are always the angry people, and in social media, we all know it's a cesspool. It's why a lot of us, including me, I don't know how many people have interacted more with folks on social media than I have over the last 15 years. Like hundreds of thousands of tweets, real world, tons of them behind the scenes and DMs. I used to handle the SiriusXM Twitter account on Sunday. I'm hundreds of thousands of interactions on Twitter alone. I don't do much anymore. Why? Because I got tired of it. So I saw a couple people bitching about Christian McCaffrey last night, including one gentleman. I assume it's a gentleman. The picture and the name said gentleman. I don't know. Maybe it's a bot. Maybe it's And I, of course, then looked at the timeline and it was filled with nonsense. But I had a gentleman send a note saying that his season was ruined by fantasyguru.com because we told him not to draft Christian McCaffrey. So I just want to be very clear about this Christian McCaffrey situation here and use it as an example. Again, most people Don't. Jeff bans people every week from Discord because some of you go off the rails every week because you've been drinking all day and you're pissed off. Just don't. Okay? Number one, none of us ever said that Christian McCaffrey wouldn't be a star when he played. None of us ever said that at fantasyguru.com. Ever. The question is not, will McCaffrey be good? The question is, how many games will McCaffrey play? So, for this person that complained, for anyone that's... No one ever said McCaffrey wouldn't be good. It's how many games is McCaffrey going to play? Number two, we had Christian McCaffrey, which is probably lower than everyone else. I checked this morning. 28th overall in our final rankings at fantasyguru.com. He was going 8th overall in some drafts at the end of draft season. When the draft season started, he was around like 18. Okay. So we were definitely lower than him than everyone else. It's your team. You can put it together any way you want. You could have ignored that information and taken Christian McCaffrey 18th if you wanted. You could have taken him 8th if you wanted. It's your team. Do what you want. Okay. But let's not have some revisionist history. We ranked Christian McCaffrey 85th. Didn't happen. Third, victory laps happen by everybody. I do it sometimes. You do it sometimes. That's okay. It's been 5 games. No one should be doing a victory lap with any player, certainly with Christian McCaffrey after 5 games. Now, maybe you say to yourself, well, Ray, Christian McCaffrey has played 5 games. I'm a winner because he's been great for 5 games. And I would tell you, maybe you're right. But remember, he played 4 games last year. And in 2022, he played 11 games. And in 2021, he played 7 games. Like, he's all over the place. 2020, he played 3 games. Like, it's not, again, so it's not about McCaffrey being good. It's about McCaffrey playing. Third, fourth point, whatever it is with McCaffrey, like I said earlier, he is going to die if they keep this up. Touch counts per game, 31, 19, 27, 23, 30. He will die. Okay? Just the facts. 0.45, whichever one it is. Remember this. He's played 5 games. He has not run for 70 yards once. He's been under 70 rushing yards every single game. He's been under 60 rushing yards each of the last 4 games. On the season, he's averaging 18 carries for 56 yards, which is terrible. 3.1 yards a carry, awful. Part of the reason he's getting 10 targets a week is because Pearsall was out yesterday, and Jennings was out yesterday, and Kittle's been out for a month. He's going to continue to catch passes. You really think he's going to continue to catch, not 8 passes a week? No. He's going to catch 5 or 6 like he always does, but 8? So the bottom line is this whole swirl of events has conspired to allow McCaffrey to be a dominant fantasy force, even though he's running the football as poorly as he's ever run the football, because of massive workloads as a pass catcher for an offense that is beat up and throwing the ball a lot. So, have our rankings been wrong at fantasyguru.com to this point with McCaffrey? 100%, totally wrong. Was I wrong with what I said in the preseason about McCaffrey to this point? 100% totally wrong. Talk to me in 3 months. No one should be doing victory laps after 5 games. Let's talk some football here. Chubba Hubbard is not going to play with a calf injury this week. He's going to miss Sunday's home game against the Dolphins, according to a league source. The injury to his calf, which we did talk about on the show with Jeff yesterday, we mentioned how Dave Canales was talking to the media and saying that, look, it's not bad, but he's worse than he was last week. Well, Chubba Hubbard is now, not officially, but he's not playing this week. The good news is we are hearing it is not something that's going to send him to the injured reserve list. So it's not expected to miss a month of time, which is good news. Who are the Panthers playing this week? They're playing Dallas. Right? No, who they're playing this week. I'm totally lost my mind. They're playing Miami. Dolphins. Not Dallas. Dolphins, excuse me. Dolphins can be run on. That's a winnable matchup for them. Rico Dowdle's in the mix. So, for those of you that like to do this, and I know you all do, the move to make right now is to run to the waiver wire and pick up Rico Dowdle, who honestly has been pretty effective this year in a very minor role. it's very reasonable to think Rico Dowdle's getting 15 touches this week. Very reasonable. Let me make a note of that as I'm talking to all of you. Is it go spend a ton of money if you have waivers running for him? No, because again, we're not expecting Hubbard to miss an extended period of time. We're looking at a short period of time with him. But Dowdle is absolutely in play as a flex option this week. And for some of you, he might be in play as a running back too. Just how it is. We've got the situation with the Bucs we'll talk about in a second. We got this situation with the Panthers. We talked earlier on this show and on SiriusXM about the Arizona Cardinals situation. What the hell the Commanders doing? Like there's a lot of situations this week where it's like, So Rico Dowdle is absolutely in the mix as an option as a running back 2 flex this week for some of you. Now it's still an offense. It's still Rico Dowdle, but I think for some of you, it might be a move worth making. And this is another example of why you want to handcuff your guys, because if you have Hubbard and you don't have Dowdle, and I bet the majority of you that have Hubbard do not have Dowdle, can you get him off the waiver wire? We talked about this yesterday. Again, remember, episode 499, about 11 minutes in, talking about how to handle backup running backs and how to build your fantasy squad. Another situation to talk about in the backfield is Bucky Irving. He's got that foot issue. We've heard crutches and air boots, so it's not surprising to hear that he's expected to miss the game against the Seahawks this week. This is not a good matchup for Tampa Bay on the ground against the Seahawks. They're also now going to be without Bucky Irving. We were on the show yesterday. We spent a lot of time talking about this, what happens and all that. The easy, early, obvious pivot is to go grab Rachaad White. A lot of you that have Bucky Irving probably have Rachaad White. Okay. I'm not sure, as was Jeff yesterday. He wasn't sure either. We kind of both were like, For me, if I had to choose between Rachaad White or Sean Tucker, I'm going to say play Rachaad White. Okay, that's how I'm calling it right now. Does that mean that Rachaad White is going to get 15 carries? Maybe, maybe not. Does it mean Sean Tucker's going to get 15 carries? Maybe. Theoretically, because Rachaad White is not a good running back, we get a scenario where first and second downs is Tucker on the ground, third downs is Rachaad White. That's probably the right way to play this. Now, will they play it that way? I don't know. Number 2 of my jazz, like I said, about playing these guys against the Seahawks from a running back perspective, not really, right? Could they be involved with pass catchers? For sure. So we'll have the rankings updated at fantasyguru.com before game action. Don't worry. Don't everyone freak out if the rankings are not. It's Friday morning. Don't worry. Everything will be updated. We'll change there. But those are 2 scenarios this week that, again, display the reason that we talk so frequently and so aggressively about handcuffing your running backs. You don't have to run to the waiver wire to get Rachaad White. You don't have to run to the waiver wire to get Rico Dowdle if you just handcuff your guys. So hopefully you were able to do that in preparation for what could happen. And what could happen is what is happening this week with both Bucky Irving going to miss this game and Chuba Hubbard going to miss this game in week 5 for their respective clubs. It's a Friday, and every Friday we talk to our man, Russell Clay. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com does the Dynasty rankings for us. He often does a TikTok video as he's going through updating the Dynasty rankings, so you might want to check that out with him. He's often on the live stream on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time at fantasyguru.com. He also covers college football for us at fantasyguru.com. He's in Discord answering questions all the time. Seasonal questions, college questions, fantasyguru.com. Sunday nights, he's on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio with Justin Fensterman from 6 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. So check him out on Sunday nights. And he's with us every Friday, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's Friday. Let's bring him in. He's Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Let me get rid of that. And let me get rid of this. And there he is, Russell Clay. How you doing, Russ?
What's up, Ray? How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm trying to figure out all this fancy technological gizmo whizzes stuff. I think I got it okay today. So we're doing all right. How's the week gone since we talked to you last?
It's good. I mean, crushing defeat last night for those Rams, but Kyle Shanahan, with truly a practice squad roster, gets a win in an NFL game. Amazing. Honestly, one of the most amazing coaching performances I've seen. So
on the road, on a short week, like I talked about it earlier. It's like amazing. I mean, that's just, you're right. It's just amazing. It was, no one expected the game to end up the way it did. And the interesting thing is, really all the Rams performed right? Adams was fine.
Yeah.
Nakua went to the moon. Kyrie Williams went to the moon. Stafford went to the moon. So they, so all those guys, even though they lost the game, they all were great in the fantasy space. Let's talk about the other side. I've been spent a couple minutes talking about Christian McCaffrey here on the show today, and I want to get your take. And I basically said, look, he touched the ball 30 times last night, and he's going to die. Like, there's just, there's no way he's going to be able to handle the workload he's getting right now. He and the Niners are not running the ball effectively at all. They're getting 3 yards a carry. It's terrible. He's just catching a ton of passes each week, and, he's a wide receiver 1 playing running back is what he's basically been. What do we do with McCaffrey? Do we trade him if we have him? Is now the perfect time to trade him? Hey, we invested a first, second round pick on this guy, ride it out until it goes, the wheels fall off, that kind of thing. If you had McCaffrey on your team, and do you have McCaffrey on any teams, what would you be doing with him right now?
There was a season a few years ago for Devontae Adams where he was scoring a touchdown every week, and Russ learned about the gambler's fallacy, where I was like, there's no way he can do this for a full season. I think it might have been his last season with Aaron Rodgers, where he just went for like 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns or something stupid. Oh yeah. 2020, he had 18 touchdowns. And I was like, there's no way this is going to continue all year. And it just continued all year. So armed with that knowledge, Christian McCaffrey has 130 touches through 5 weeks. Since 2020, that is the second most touches other than 2021 Derrick Henry, where, he was going through that. So this is a 30-year-old running back, and all those guys were 22, 23, 24 years old.
Right.
So this is totally not real. This doesn't make sense. This goes against everything, but maybe this is it. I guess maybe this is just going to keep happening. And the one thing for Dynasty, if you want to trade him and you're rebuilding and you have no hope for this year, fine.
Right.
Here's my take. If you are winning,
right,
ride it out. Who knows? Nobody knows. I would assume every logical thing says there's no way.
Right.
But I mean, if you're 4-1 or 3-0, whatever, because of Christian McCaffrey getting 30 touches a game, I guess we just keep going, right?
I guess until we don't go anymore. Russ Clay at fantasyguru.com. Let's stick with the Niners for a second. A lot of people put teams together. Let's talk a seasonal aspect for this question here. A lot of people put teams together based on assumptions. Oh, this guy will be back in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it is. And the player's going to be 100% and they're good to go. Brandon Aiyuk was supposed to be back week 4, according to some people, week 5, 6, according to some people. We continue to get reports in his return from a significant knee injury that Brandon Aiyuk is not close to playing. Okay. And remember, his injury was in week 7 last year. So we're not even a year removed from him tearing multiple knee ligaments. So it's not surprising that we're still here. If you're in a redraft scenario and you've had Aiyuk this whole time, what are you doing? If you have an IR spot, that's fine. But there are people that have said, well, I have one IR spot and I just lost Trey Benson this week, as an example. What do we do in a redraft scenario with Brandon Aiyuk?
Trey Benson, man, what a
right?
son of a that guy, man. That guy. Brandon Aiyuk got paid. And I'm learning, and by learning, I mean this has been this way forever. Once guys get paid, all bets are off. If Tyreek Hill didn't have $100 million in the bank, I bet he wouldn't be smiling like that as he got carted off.
Well, I don't think he has $100 million anymore. I think that's part of the problem.
Half of it's probably going to. Well, never mind. This is
child support. It is child support.
Anyway, so with Aiyuk, I don't know there's as much emphasis on getting back as there might have been before he got paid. Same thing with T. Higgins and his 5 yards per game. And they don't care. They don't need him. Kendrick Bourne doing his best Brandon Aiyuk impression, maybe a better version of Brandon Aiyuk. So Kyle Shanahan has shown time and again, he doesn't care who's out there. He's just going to call great plays and win. Is that going to work in the playoffs? No, they're going to get blown out 45-10, but in the regular season, this can work. So they don't need him, and I don't know that he needs them. So it's a weird situation.
Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Russ, let's talk about another injured receiver. This one totally different, though, because this guy was drafted to be a wide receiver 1. He was expected to replicate the starring performance that he flashed last season. That's Terry McLaurin, who's got the quad injury now. Terry McLaurin has been ruled out. Well, not officially, I guess, but he's not going to play. Or maybe he has officially been ruled out this week. He's not playing this week. Either way, Terry McLaurin. So it's another missed game for him. Jay Daniels is supposed to be back, so that's a positive for this offense. But what are we doing with Terry McLaurin? He's another one of these receivers, and there's a lot of them right now. Right? There's a lot of them that just aren't coming close to living up to draft day expectations. I just look at Terry McLaurin, though, and it's like, if I had McLaurin on a team, what am I going to do? Am I going to trade him for nothing? You know, am I going to drop him? No. What are we doing here? Is it just close your eyes and hold on for dear life and hope it gets better?
With injuries now, we really have more access and less access than ever. We have a lot of information, some of it coming directly from their agent, some of it coming directly from the organization. And he's another one who was in a contract dispute all offseason, did get paid. And even though he's 30 and this is a different type of contract than those other guys, we're in kind of a similar situation. I'd hope he's okay, but I don't know. I guess it's Luke McCaffrey season, right?
Would you start McCaffrey? He scored 2 weeks in a row. What scenario are we starting him? Because there's been some questions, people, kicking the tires there.
So Luke McCaffrey in his NFL career has been looked like the coach's son, but not the good one, the bad one, where it's like, why is he on the team? The younger brother. And he's actually played well, and he was a 3rd-round pick. It's not like he was some guy who's coming up off the practice squad. Luke McCaffrey should have expectations for production heading into his 2nd and 3rd season. So the fact that he's producing probably shouldn't be as much of a surprise as we think it is. So if he continues to produce, wouldn't be shocking at all.
Russell Clay, fantasyguru.com. You're a big fan, I believe, of Brock Bowers. Who isn't a fan of Brock Bowers?
Geno Smith.
Good call. Geno Smith, the offensive coordinator. Brock Bowers has been fine. Wasn't drafted to be fine. Wasn't drafted to catch 82 balls for 900 yards. He's been chugging along, and we're trying to decide how much of this is his knee, how much of this is the offense, how much of it is Geno Smith. He didn't practice. I don't think he's practiced the last 2 days, Brock Bowers, so there's now some concern if he's actually going to play this week. Again, this is another one of those scenarios, like you're not dropping back Bowers. There's nothing you can do. You might have to go pick up a second tight end. You might have to do that. But have you seen anything overtly horrible physically? We all keep talking about the knee, but have you seen him pulled back physically because of the knee? Or is this more about Geno Smith and the way the offense is operating?
When we're doing career tight end games, tweets for me that things are not going well for Brock Bowers, because I got to keep things in context for the career, which is Brock Bowers is still the best tight end of all time through 21 career games.
At Russell J. Clay on Twitter X, I saw that yesterday, I think.
But when I am posting something like that, that's not good. That's a bad thing. That means things are not going well.
Right.
I had a few of those with Kyle Pitts, and I'm sure Kyle Pitts is probably still top 10 through 3 or 4 seasons. Right. But that's not good when I'm resorting to that. Brock Bowers is still producing pretty well overall this year. I mean, he's on pace for 800 or 900 yards if we scale out. But that's not what I put my 1st round, 2nd round pick in. I need 1,000 yards. I need 1,100 yards and like 7 touchdowns, or this is going to be a disaster pick. Right. So I put those tweets out and posts out, but I understand this is not, you're pissed if you drafted him right now, and for good reason. Injured in week 1's a horrible way to go about things, and they have not been targeting him since or featuring him. You don't know if this is year 2, teams adjusting and double teaming him, but last year he was getting that coverage and it wasn't affecting him at all. Geno Smith stinks. He's 34 years old. He's never been a winning quarterback. There was that push a few years ago to make him be top 15 or whatever, and he was never top 15 at any point. He just had good efficiency. And here we are. Now we're 34, and Pete Carroll's relying on him to beat a juggernaut Chiefs team and this AFC West. He's just going to lose all these games. So does he get replaced? I don't know. But this is not surprising. We all kind of expected this, I would hope. For Brock in particular, though, you would have thought Geno would target heavy, and he's not. So I don't know the answer. I don't have a great answer, but you watch these games and you say, this is kind of weird. So I know he's amazing. I know he had 112 catches last year, but this is a Geno Smith thing that I don't know if it gets better.
The gloved one is the backup right now, Kenny Pickett. So I don't know if that improves things either. But
yeah,
I've always been, I never played football. I played basketball and baseball my whole life. I never played football other than with my homies. Okay. When I'm playing on the playground with my homies, guess what? My brother is a pretty good athlete. Where is my brother on the field? I'm throwing him the football. It's not that complicated, right? My other buddy was a golfer, not throwing him the football. Right? It's not that complicated. Jacoby Myers is really good. Trey Tucker's a borderline guy. Thornton's a rookie. Besh is a rookie. Why are we not throwing the ball 12 times a week to Brock Bowers? If you're Geno Smith, don't you go to the coaching staff and say, hey, guys, let's call some plays or just throw him the ball? I've never understood when you have an asset. It's one thing for the Eagles to not throw the ball to their wide receivers. They're winning games every week. The Raiders stink. Why are you not utilizing your best weapon in the air? I don't understand it.
So last year with, a really similar offense, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ridder, no egos there.
Yeah,
they just say, all right, we got to get it to this guy because we stink.
Yeah.
And we need this guy to do all the work for us. Whereas I do think Geno, and shout out to Geno because he got paid. He's been a starter for multiple years. He is good enough to be a starter. But there's this, he's pushing it downfield. He's trying to, manage all this crazy stuff. And it's all right, man, let's just get it to Brock, please.
Yeah, you got more interceptions than touchdowns. It's not working. Do something different. Russell Clay of FantasyGuru.com. My favorite NFL football player, Taysom Hill. Really interesting to me. We've said this all over and over again. I'll state it just point blank. He's not a tight end. He's never been a tight end. He doesn't play tight end. Fantasy leagues, for some reason, have labeled Taysom Hill a tight end for years, even though players like Deebo Samuel, who actually play another position, Deebo actually plays running back, never given running back designation. It is what it is. It's fake. It's wrong. It's ridiculous. It's a travesty. Okay. We're not certain if he's going to play this week, but they've opened his window to return, right? So Taysom Hill's getting close. And now, Russ, all of a sudden, the Juwan Johnson people are a little nervous, as if they never thought at any point in their head, did they ever have the realization that Taysom Hill is going to play football this year? Who is Taysom Hill this year? Who is Juwan Johnson the rest of the season?
And I'll tell you what, Ray, we're seeing this a lot in college football now, and it's a nightmare where it's all these hybrid dudes that are just floating around doing all this stuff.
Right.
Even though the Saints suck, I did enjoy their offense because we knew where it was going.
Right.
We have Kamara, we have Juwan Johnson, and we have Chris Olave. And that was our structure here. We knew what was happening. Yeah, this is going to ruin everything. So I'm not looking forward to this at all. And if you have Juwan Johnson, this is not good for you. Taysom Hill's a dang good player and really fun to watch if you're not gambling or playing fantasy. But this is not fun at all. No.
Yeah, and again, I just found it Like we've talked with Juwan Johnson about the concerns we have when Tyler Shuck takes over because he's such a different stylistic quarterback than Rattler. So that's what, and we've all said, Juwan Johnson, yeah, now, but be careful later on. I just find it so interesting that so many Juwan Johnson owners are like freaking out now about Taysom Hill. Like they never thought that Taysom Hill was going to play. It's just the weirdest thing to me. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Let's go to the other end. Let's get away from that nonsense with Taysom Hill, who is a good football player, but is not a tight end. No. Nico Collins got a knee issue. Not a big deal. Practiced in full yesterday. Is expected to play this week. What are we seeing with this passing attack with the Texans? And is there still hope that Nico Collins, who was obviously drafted as a top 10 wide receiver, has got a chance to be a top 10 wide receiver the West way? The passing attack, as we're well aware, really hasn't worked much this season for the Texans.
All right, Ray, let me get out my calculator and do some advanced math here. 260 divided by 4 equals 65 yards. 2 touchdowns divided by 4. It's 0.5. Full season pace, 1,100 yards. 8 touchdowns.
Right.
Not bad.
Right.
Now, first round, second round, we're not happy with it, right? But he's doing all right.
Hey, Norm, by the way, I heard Norm there.
Yeah,
Dexter was on the show Tuesday. So
was he? Yeah, Norm's like, get more Jaden Higgins on the field here. But he's doing all right. I have seen a lot of people in the fantasy space not happy with Nico so far this year, and I guess I get it, but he of all the guys that have busted or are out for the season now or everything going wrong, he's like the least of my worries. I have him in a league and it hasn't been great, but I'm also not like suffering. I'm not losing because of him either. So yeah, it's not fun. Knee injury, not good to hear about, but he is Stroud's guy. I thought he looked pretty good. Looked great in that Jags game. So watch the knee injury, but I'm just setting and forgetting him every week. Yeah.
What about the backfield with the Texans? We had the emergence last week, at least statistically speaking, of Woody Marks.
Yep.
And we know that around the interwebs, there were some places saying spend half your fab budget on this guy. Like some real excitement about a guy that scored a touchdown rushing and receiving. We got an update from the Houston Chronicles, John Alexander, that there is no update with Joe Mixon. Like apparently, I don't know if Joe Mixon's living on an island in Tunisia or something. Like no one has any idea what's going on with Joe Mixon. So there's growing concern that he may not even play this year, which obviously boosts Mark's outlook. But we still got Nick Chubb there. And I don't think Nick Chubb is going to be touching the ball 3 times a week while Woody Marks is playing 80% of the snaps. So what are we doing with this backfield of the Texans? Everyone's excited about the rookie. Should they be? And whether they are or aren't excited about him, what should they really be expecting from Woody Marks the rest of the way?
I am glad Woody Marks has Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb can eat up all the carries I don't care about. Third and 6 rushing attempts and 1st and 15 after a holding call or something like that. Nick Chubb can have all those. We want Woody Marks for what we saw last week, and that is the 4 receptions, 50 yards, and a touchdown. He's a receiving prospect out of USC and Mississippi State. He did have 17 rushing attempts. I don't want that personally. I'd rather have 6 catches every week instead of the 17. So yeah, have Nick Chubb running it 12 to 15 times a game and give me the Woody Marks receiving production. So not many featured backs these days. So I'll just take the third down production from Marks. So I like that role from him. He played 56% of the snaps last week. That is about the max I would want for Marks. Okay. And that's what we're looking for. So yeah, it's starting him every week from now on, but just know if you have Marks, you don't want him playing 80% of the snaps. So stop that if that's your dream.
It's the dream for most people. Russ Clay at fantasyguru.com. You mentioned Tyreek Hill earlier. Obviously done for the season with the knee injury, careers up in the air at this point, all that kind of stuff. Malik Washington. The rest of the way, let me ask you directly, Russ. I need a number. PPR setup. The rest of the way, Malik Washington will be wide receiver number. Come on, Russ. What's the air smell like?
It smells like wide receiver 23.
Oh, so you're pretty bullish. Okay. Tell us why.
Number one, Malik Washington was being used in this offense well before the Tyreek Hill injury, and they were bringing him into this offense last year. By the end of the year, kick return, super explosive, highly athletic, late round pick. But here's the thing. Mike McDaniel is the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, and he doesn't care. Next guy up. And we just saw this with Jake Tonjes and Kendrick Bourne off the street, right?
Right.
Malik Washington can play the speed role in this offense, and they were setting him up to do this anyway. Right. I kind of have a feeling it was Tyreek's last season in Miami regardless. So Malik Washington is the replacement. 6th round pick. Long-term, are we excited? No. But he is very talented for what he is. So I do think McDaniel's going to use him a lot.
McDaniel's going to utilize Darren Waller more. I think he played 16 snaps. I think he ran 10 routes. He was talking to the press this week and said, I'm going to play a lot more this week. Me personally, I don't give an S because the dude's not going to be playing in 6 weeks. I mean, let's be realistic here. But who is Darren Waller right now? They've got a need for some boosts on the offense with Hill down. He obviously can be a red zone threat for this team. Malik Washington's not a big fella. They don't really, have a bunch of guys in the red zone they can throw to the ball to. Darren Waller. Who the hell's Darren Waller moving forward?
Yeah, Darren Waller's like when they bring back one of those old TV shows and they put it on and they're like, new season. And you're like, wait, I thought that got canceled a decade ago. And then there's like 3 weeks of excitement and then it gets canceled again because nobody's watching.
The 70s show.
Yeah.
I was flipping through Netflix yesterday. That 80s show or 90s show, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, it's like no. Like
so
we'll watch that like one time because we're like, wait, what's going on? What?
Who are these kids? Yeah.
But yeah, it's not gonna be a thing all season. Now I will say, still a solid red zone threat, always has been. Right. So we'll keep an eye on that. And with Tua, Tua's an accuracy based guy, so he is gonna throw it up in the red zone. Most of the time it doesn't end well for Tua, but Waller, yeah, I could see it being a red zone type thing, but he's 33. And maybe we see a McDaniel Waller rap music video at some point, right?
Nice. We can hope. One can hope. Yeah, that's right. Waller quit to be a rapper for those people that don't know what he's talking about. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. A youngster under center taking over with the Browns. Dillon Gabriel, a very different stylistic quarterback than Joe Flacco. Who is Dillon Gabriel? Give us a little bit of a scouting report on him, Russ, and what are your expectations with him under center running this offense? And third, are we going to see Shedeur Sanders at some point, or do you expect Dillon Gabriel to do enough that he might run the table here in terms of starting?
I think people are going to be surprised, Ray.
Okay.
He's like a accuracy, run the offense, they brought him in because he can run the offense. He is not a high ceiling long-term guy,
right?
But he is someone, he's 24, almost 25, spent a ton of years starting in college football, right. Fits Stefanski well. He's going to be able to run this offense. They have a great running game. And he's not going to do too much. So I actually think this could work. He's a lefty, so it might be hard for some of these defenses, right. as silly as it sounds, right. To navigate this. So yeah, I actually am relatively optimistic about Gabriel. Okay. Not for fantasy. I would not be starting him for right. fantasy, but he's going to surprise people. And the Shedeur Sanders, the 5th round, now replace Shedeur Sanders with 5th round pick. And it's nothing. I don't care. The threat to Gabriel is Flacco coming back in if Gabriel looks like Geno Smith out there. But no, that's shout out Geno. You made like $50 million last
75.
70. Oh my God. Good for him. So I can roast him. He's fine. But Gabriel, yeah, I actually think highly accurate quarterback. He's going to be just fine.
Some questions here in the chat before we shut things down here on the show. Joe B says, hello, Ray, Dexter, and Ollie. This is before you were on the show. So don't be offended, Russ.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, this is before you were on. So a couple minutes before you showed up. Sorry to you too, Norm. Joe's dealing with a bunch of injuries. He's 1-4. Got guys on bye. Bottom line, he's got a group of players here. Not a scenario anyone was expecting to want to see or to have in Week 5. He needs to choose two of the following, and they're all waiver wire. Rashad Smith, Sean Tucker, Kendry Miller, Amari DiMercato, Jaden Blue. Now we're thinking Sanders probably doesn't play this week, not certain. We have no idea what the backfield mix is going to look like with the Cardinals. I think let's be honest about that. Kendry Miller looks good as a runner, but it's not like Alvin Kamara is going to disappear. Sean Tucker, we talked about him earlier in the show today. Looks like Bucky Irving's going to miss the game this week. Tucker could be the early down guy with White working third downs, 2-minute drill, that kind of thing. And then Rashad Smith, whose role is growing, but he's still well behind Pacheco and Hunt right now in terms of snaps and touches. Who are the two we're going with for Joe, Russ?
Number one, Rashard Smith is my penny stock that I check the price every day, and right. I sell it too early and buy it too late, but you keep watching it go up. 26% of the offensive snaps last week, and they stopped using him on special teams as much. Only 7% of the snaps there. I really liked him, and I thought he fell way too far in the draft.
Right.
Most of the time, that's a signal his career's over, goes to the Chiefs. And if the Chiefs had any competence at all at running back, it'd be bad. But he's gone from 0 touches to 1 touch to 2 touch to 7 touches through the first month. And there's no competition. Pacheco is done. Kareem Hunt has been done for 3 years. Fantasy this week, still a real sweat there, but I would take the risk. And then Kendry Miller looks really good, and I would go with him. The Saints offense is tanking, but that could be a good thing for Miller, who could start to see more touches.
Ethan B's got another question that's disastrous, and it's really interesting. This is why we talk about in the preseason, or at least I do in particular, let's stop focusing on the first 2 rounds of a draft. Let's stop focusing on the first 2 or 3. You got to build depth, folks. I mean, it's only week 5, and look at these names. Some of these names, were they even mentioned in the preseason by anybody? And the answer is no. We need a wide receiver and 2 flexes here. We got Malik Washington. We just talked about. I assume he's going to be one of your guys. But Malik Washington, Christian Kirk, Isaiah Bond, Kendry Miller, we just talked about, DeMarcado, Carter, Ingram, or Tucker. So this is just a hodgepodge of guys that were picked up off the waiver wire for $4. Right, that's just what we got here. Ingram is really tough to trust. He's just not really part of the offense. He's not on the field much. Just not really part of the offense there. Tucker, I discussed. You can give your thoughts on the Tampa Bay backfield if you want here. Uncertain how that's going to play out. DeMarcado and Carter. I mean, Kendry Miller we just talked about. You like Kendry Miller, but is he getting more than 10 touches? Isaiah Bond with the young quarterback as his role's growing. Christian Kirk, he's been fine for Christian Kirk. You're not doing anything. And then Malik Washington, who we discussed. So give us 3 guys here. Go for it.
Yeah, fantasy football is treating Ethan like Schlittler did to the Red Sox last night.
Oh, nice court pull. Nice, Russ.
My buddy's a Red Sox fan. He was texting me about it all last night. I saw he did well. But Ethan, I would go with Washington. I would go with the top 3 there, but you know what you're getting. You know what this is. This is they bring out the appetizers and it looks fancy, and then it's just a leaf and like some soy sauce.
All right.
So you know what you're getting there, Ethan.
By the way, go ahead. Sorry, Russ.
But yeah, that I would go with the top 3. Bond, very talented, could get some snaps this week.
Your favorite, just to say it and put it on the record, because again, we're going to really hold you to this, your feet to the fire. Arizona, do you want DeMarcado, Knight, or Carter? Which of the 3 would be your selection this week?
None.
I know, I said the same, but which of your 3 would be the selection this week?
It's Carter, but none. Okay. Yeah, no,
okay.
I would be looking for something goofy like Kendra instead.
Okay. In Tampa Bay, Irving out. Rachaad White is the one everyone's going to get excited about and want to get, but is Sean Tucker the better play this week in your estimation?
This week it's White, but Sean Tucker's the better back. So keep an eye on that. I mean, Rashad White got eaten up by Bucky last year. Same thing will happen with Sean Tucker if it's long-term.
Finally, from Aaron, we got a question here. Start him, sit him. And Aaron knows the answer here. The answer is yes. The answer, and this is, let me back up. Deebo Samuel's got a heel issue. He's fine. He practiced. He'll be good to go. AJ Brown, we need to sit one of AJ Brown and Deebo Samuel in a non-PPR setup. To me, okay, this is me. These are top 25 wide receivers, and they never sit. If you're in a scenario where you're in a 2 wide receiver league, which Aaron probably is, get out of a 2 wide receiver league. It's not 1986. Every league needs to be 3 receivers and a flex so that we don't have to make a decision here about sitting a guy who should never sit when they're playing. All that being said, who are you sitting here? I mean, again, no is the answer, but who are you sitting? Deebo Samuel with the returning Jaden Daniels or AJ Brown in his up and down performance to date?
I would just keep playing AJ Brown. And I know that's not fun. Shout out to the people on YouTube putting the comments in there. You guys rock.
Yeah,
Appreciate
they're very
you.
good. Very positive. No one yells at anyone. They help each other out with questions.
Oh,
really
and
yeah,
getting some traction on YouTube's cool. Aaron, I would just keep playing AJ Brown. He's got like 27 targets over the last 3 weeks. I know it's been horrible, but he's been humbled. He threw out that tweet last week and he looked a little somber, apologizing for that. So they're going to keep targeting him over the course of a season. He's going to be all right.
Final question from Robin. Robin snuck it in here late. And I'll tell Robin and everyone else, yesterday, episode 499, the 11-minute mark of the show, I spent like 6 or 7 minutes talking about backup running backs. This is the exact reason why I talked about yesterday, and I'm trying to change people's mindset. Because instead of handcuffing your players, we're now looking at this group of guys and trying to figure out, I lost Benson. What do I do? Or you handcuff your guys, right? It helps out an awful lot. Robin's got the following: Chris Rodriguez, Kendre Miller, Sean Tucker, Mario DiMercato, and Rico Dowdle. We're getting news that Hubbard's not going to play this week. Would Dowdle be somebody that you would feel confident with this group? Again, this is a group of but it's a situation some people are in with injuries and buys. Chris Rodriguez, Kendre Miller, Sean Tucker, Mario DiMercato, or Rico Dowdle. What do you say?
Miller. Yeah. We're in a weird abstract painting, Robin. We got to go with the upside play in Miller there for me. That's what I would do. I am starting Kendre Miller in a deep league. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'll go out in public and tell people. So you don't have to do that, but I will.
Russell Clay of FantasyGuru.com doing this every Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. You will be on the SiriusXM show at 6 o'clock on Sunday night, correct? What is that all about?
Yeah, we're recapping all the action for the week. So week 5, we'll be watching Kendre Miller fumble at the 1-yard line, and I'll say, "Oh, Robin, I'm so sorry." And then yeah, we'll do other recaps. We have some people on every once in a while. And yeah, it's me and Justin Fensterman recapping the week.
You update the Dynasty rankings. He is our Dynasty guy over at FantasyGuru.com. And you do the TikTok video while doing it. Where do they find that and when does that occur?
Yes, I update the rankings every week. The only way to actually get the rankings, the updated version, is on the site. So if you're watching this, head over to Fantasy Guru. We update it every week. Though I do let the crowd throw their takes out there. I don't agree most of the time, and I will shoot you down, but I will listen. And sometimes there are some good takes out there, but yeah, head over to Russell J. Clay on TikTok or something like that. Just search that and you'll find it. And yeah, we go to war.
What time does that normally happen?
At mid-afternoon on Wednesdays, depending. Usually after Mans goes on air. After he's on air. So that's how we do that.
Okay. And he often wears a button-up shirt to look fancy.
We do. Yeah. We trick people, right?
He never deems this show worthy of that, but his
false advertising.
Yeah, well,
shorts on underneath, but we got the dress shirt on.
And you mentioned Gardner Minshew earlier. You got to keep it rolling here.
Yeah.
Russell Clay, you can follow him on Twitter X at Russell J. Clay. You can find him in Discord all the time. And as I said, You can find him here with us every Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Have a great weekend, Russ. We'll talk to you again next week, and good luck with your lineups with Kendry Miller this weekend.
Sounds great, Ray.
He's Russ. I'm Ray. I'll be back here on Monday. I'll review all of Sunday's action for Week 5. We'll spend the entire hour me rapid firing, going back and forth, team by team, game by game. So look forward to that here on Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. For Russell Clay, I'm Ray Flowers. This has been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by the one and only fantasyguru.com.